friends. Today, let's learn about the cross. You've seen crosses on churches, but why do Christians have the cross as their symbol? Well, let's learn. So Jesus had many followers called disciples. Disciple is our first vocabulary word for today. If you are someone's disciple, it means you're their student. It comes from the Latin word discipuli, which means student. That's also where we get the word discipline. It means to be trained and taught in a way that a teacher would teach their students or their disciples. So one of the most famous disciples of Jesus is a man named Judas. Judas was very well respected. He was even the one who had all of the money for Jesus and his followers. They trusted him, but Judas had become evil in his heart. He began to look for ways to betray Jesus. So on the night of the Passover, which is probably the biggest holiday in Judaism, it's kind of like we'd celebrate Christmas. Everyone would get together and have a big Passover meal. Judas went to the leaders and told them how they could catch Jesus. Now, Judas betrays Jesus, and later Judas commits suicide because he felt so guilty about what he had done. But Jesus is arrested. Now, the other person who is very famous when we think about the death of Jesus on the cross is a man named Pontius Pilate. Now, Pontius Pilate was a Roman governor. He was the one who was in charge in that area of Israel. And Pontius Pilate had Jesus crucified because he claimed to be the Son of God. And Pontius Pilate didn't want there to be any trouble. So what is being crucified? Well, the word cross is our other vocabulary word for today. You've seen crosses on different things. The cross has become the symbol of hospitals because Christians were the first ones to begin what we know as modern day hospitals. But the cross is actually a place to kill people. It's normally two pieces of wood crossed together that a person is nailed to. So their hands and their feet have big nails driven through them, and they are hung there to die. Normally, before someone was put up on a cross to die, they were beaten so that they couldn't escape. And this is what happened to Jesus. He was beaten and hit. He was whipped, and on his head there was a crown of thorns, which is incredibly painful. And then he was nailed to a cross. Right before he died, he said, "Father, forgive them. They do not know what they were doing." And then he said, "Into your hands I give my spirit." And he gives his life, and Jesus dies on the cross. So that's what happened when Jesus died. And that is why as Christians, we remember the cross. But we remember the cross because it doesn't end there. Jesus is taken down from the cross. He's dead, he's buried, and in 3 days, he comes back from the dead, which no one has ever done before. No one in history has been publicly executed and then come back from the dead. You might hear stories about people in hospitals coming back after being dead for a short amount of time, but Jesus' story is special. And as Christians, it gives us hope that God has given us a way to escape death. Even if we die, we believe that when we trust in Jesus, he will give us life even after death. Because even though he was killed on the cross, he came back from the dead. So that's why Christians love the cross. It's sort of a strange thing to have the symbol of something that represents death. But when we look at the cross, we see Jesus who died for us. And he died to take away our sins and to take our death on himself. We'll talk more about that and the good news of the gospel. But for now, just remember the cross. It's very important.